Tahbilk was established in 1860, which makes it the oldest winery in Victoria and one of the 5 oldest in Australia. My family's first involvement with Tahbilk was back in 1875 when my great-grandfather's third cousin, James Purbrick, excavated the 1875 cellar, or as we call it, the new cellar. My great-grandfather, Reg Purbrick, purchased the property in 1925, but it was really my grandfather who studied law in England at Cambridge, but decided he didn't want to be a lawyer, he wanted to be a winemaker, and decided that Tahbilk was going to be the place that he was going to test those skills.
This particular cellar was built in 1875. Just looking at the ceiling, because all these bricks were burnt or sun-dried on the property in 1875. Mm-hmm. There's no keystones, so the roof is all supporting itself.
Oh, really?
And there is no cement or mortar, there's nothing to glue it. Every brick is interlocked.
Yeah.
And it was done, we understand, in 12 weeks, the whole thing. It was governed by nature. It sounds absolutely ridiculous, but we had no refrigeration, no cooling. And then if it was cool, rather like it is now, these lovely cool nights, it was automatic refrigeration.
So how did it change when Dad started working here?
Well, it changed there where there was more order, because none of us were trained.
Yeah.
He was the first trained man. He gradually wanted to produce this order, wanted to change the style of wines, which his grandfather taught him. His grandfather was wonderful. The old man's thing was, do you really? Yeah. And he'd take him down to his little cellar, down to there, and they would he'd open a bottle of old wine, pour it. Yeah, what do you think of this, old boy? Oh, that's great, Granddad. Why do you want to change? And eventually he didn't. He modified, cleaned up, but never changed the tradition.
It's a really interesting industry to be in, and there's no doubt that you can't stand still. For us at Tahbilk, part of that evolution has been the establishment of our ecotourism operation, which in essence has been the development of about 1,000 acres of wetlands and wildlife reserve, which was opened in 2005 after 10 years development. All of that area has been revegetated, and it's been a remarkable success. This particular wine is very special for us. It's made from Shiraz vines planted in 1860, and they're amongst the oldest Shiraz vines in the world. The yields, though, because they're so old, are tiny. That helps make a really rich concentrated wine, but it doesn't give us a lot. It's got real power, but real finesse, and it's got some lovely spicy flavours running around and some what I call thistle flavours. And it's made, as we make all our red wines, where it's aged in the old oak downstairs. So it really does have a very clear expression of fruit and fruit flavour. So it's got elegance, it's got sophistication, but still got the structure to be able to age and mature and will be at its best as a 30 or 40-year-old wine. One of the really unique and different wines that we have here at Tahbilk is the variety Marsanne. We've got the oldest Marsanne vines in the world here, which were planted in 1927, and we've got the largest single acreage of Marsanne in the world with just under 100 acres. So it's got some really significant points of difference. We make it as an unoaked white wine, and the really interesting thing about the variety is not only is it very attractive as a young wine, but it gets even more attractive with cellaring. I personally like drinking Marsanne as a 6 to 10-year-old wine when it's developed the wonderful toasty honeyed flavours. The middle palate's broadened out, and it's just a really nice drink. And as it turns out, I've got one here, so I'll drink one with Hayley, I think.